The clock is ticking down to the end of Title 42. As the crisis grows at the U.S.-Mexico border, we're seeing the impacts right here in our region.
Yeah, Title 42 expires in less than 7 hours. This Trump-era policy allowed the U.S. to quickly expel migrants due to COVID-19. And as it comes to an end, the number of migrants waiting to cross into the U.S., well, you can see from the pictures, it's surging.
Yeah, here's a look now at the U.S.-Mexico border crossing in El Paso. You can see the people gathered just on the other side of the fence waiting for midnight. Right now, near hundreds of people are standing in the line at the border near Yuma, Arizona to enter the U.S.
Here's a large group of migrants gathering at the Rio Grande, a lot of them waiting across the river only to be stopped at the bank by Texas state troopers. And then take a look at this aerial footage at the border entry in San Diego. All those cars and trucks are in line to cross when the clock strikes midnight. We know some of those drivers have been waiting there for days.
All right, so there's no question that this is a humanitarian crisis. We're talking about families here, some with small children hoping to find a better life in our country.
We also know there is a lot of confusion and misinformation out there surrounding the end of Title 42. So right now at 5, we're going to take a look at what's happening here at the border and what's happening at home.
Let's start right now in our backyard, where early this morning a bus full of migrants arrived on the vice president's doorstep.
Rafael Sanchez Cruz is live outside the Naval Observatory right now. Rafa, we've seen this happen before. I guess we're wondering now, what are the groups on the grounds telling you? Are they expecting us to see even more of these buses pulling up in the coming days?
Leslie Lorenzo, they are. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is keeping with his promise to continue busing migrants to cities ran by Democrats, including here, Washington, D.C., a message he's echoed several times this week as we wait for Title 42 to expire in a matter of hours. And just this morning at around 6:30, another migrant bus from Texas with several dozen migrants pulled up here to the Naval Observatory, the residence of Vice President Kamala Harris. Our cameras were there when the migrants, including families, stepped off the charter bus and were received by members of SAMU First Response, the organization assigned to this task by the D.C. government. Now, this bus arrives after a long pause of migrant buses arriving to the district and at a time when D.C. migrant shelters are at capacity, according to Mayor Muriel Bowser. Now, advocate groups are calling on emergency shelters as they expect more buses to arrive in the upcoming days and weeks. Let's take a listen.
If we can help folks who want to move out of the hotels find housing and be able to do that, then that frees up spaces for folks who are currently sleeping outdoors to go into the hotels. We have not gotten a commitment from the Bowser administration that they will let people go in if others move out. At the moment, they're not. We're still pushing for, obviously, emergency shelter for everybody.
Yeah, and Rafa,
we've reached out to DC's office. Oh,
yeah,
sorry about that, Lorenzo. I'm just going to say that we've reached out to the Office of Migrant Services, that's under the Department of Health and Human Services, to get the numbers and what their plan is moving forward about how many migrants are staying at the shelters and what they plan to do for those that don't have a space at these. But we're still waiting for that response.
Yeah, on that same note, Rafa, we know that Mayor Muriel Bowser said this week that the migrant shelters in D.C., they're pretty much at capacity. So you have this bus arriving today. You have more in the coming days. Where are they supposed to go?
Well, a lot of these advocate groups say that some of them are staying with some of their volunteers and others are just staying in the streets. We're actually in communication with some of those people that are saying that they don't want to disclose where they're staying because they're fearing that they are in danger, but they're just waiting until a space opens up, or they might have to pivot and go elsewhere where they do have a place to sleep.
Yeah, we were just sitting here writing some notes thinking about, our area is porous, and so D.C. is at capacity, but we also have neighbors in Maryland and Virginia, and we were wondering what that fallout might be. That's something we'll certainly be talking to you about and learning about more in the days ahead as well. Rafa, we'll see you in just a little bit.